Thank you, Acting Clwydd, and I would like to thank my committee chair, Jack Sargent, for opening and the petitioners for raising such an important petition topic. As we all know, childcare is one of, if not the biggest financial drain on family and household budgets. Many families are ultimately faced with the prospect that childcare costs are not covered by the net income of one of the parents or guardians and are therefore they're economically forced to give up work to provide care for their children. Whilst this is sustainable for some families, where one member is a high earner, for many families this will have long-term implications, particularly with the cost of living as it is, and this can so easily push a family into long-term poverty. Moreover, we're ultimately losing trained and economically active people from the workforce, not only in the short term, but potentially in the longer term as well. Those leaving their jobs to look after children because they cannot afford nursery fees can find it extremely difficult to re-enter the workforce several years later, and they face the prospect of returning to entry-level positions because of the gap in their employment history. This point is very important because it disproportionately affects women. I recognise that there are ever-increasing numbers of stay-at-home dads. However, women still take on the majority of childcare duties, and this has big impact on their finances. Not only are they more dependent on the sole earner, but they also lose out on pension contributions, and this has big impact in retirement. More so if the couple are unmarried and split up, the rights to claim pension contributions and other finances are not clearly defined. Families that cannot afford childcare or lose an income from the household also face the prospect of juggling very complicated childcare arrangements, using family or friends to cover. This can be particularly hard during school holidays, which when you include 5 inset days per year amounts to almost 70 days holiday, more than twice the average holiday entitlement of an average British worker. Meeting this demand without help from family or expensive childcare is impossible, and for single-parent families must be a constant worry and concern. It is therefore imperative that childcare provisions we have are able to, the best that we offer. I fully support this petition because it is clear to me that having up to 30 hours of free childcare from the age of 9 months available to all families is going to dramatically help them, not only with their finances, but also to manage the new responsibilities that they now have. It is going to help mums and dads stay in employment, and for many women, after their maternity leave, they will be able to afford to pick up their careers back up and keep up with their pension contributions. Acting Clwydd, in this chamber, we talk a lot about future generations and well-being. But what could be more helpful to the health and well-being of families than by helping them to meet their childcare needs? Wales has around 30% of children living in poverty, and it's the only nation in the UK where child poverty rates are increasing. Surely it is common sense to help struggling families to stay in work and to help them to be able to afford and not to rely on state aid. The UK government proposals will trigger £180 million worth of consequential funding in Wales for this, and I see no reason why we cannot offer the same system of up to 30 hours of free childcare for 9-month-olds and older here. We need to be a nation that shows that we support families and is tuned into their needs. For too long, we have had a system where having children is so detrimental to families that it either ends up pushing them into poverty or financial difficulty, or they decide to delay or not have any at all. Finally, Acting Clwydd, I want to highlight one last point. As I've previously expressed in this chamber, the Welsh Government seems to have this compulsion of always doing things differently to England, regardless of whether or not the policy in England will actually be more beneficial for us. I acknowledge that this is a debate for another time, but I will say this. The Welsh Government are short-sighted in this approach, because if a family has the option available to receive a better system in England and be thousands of pounds better off, then they will move across the border, and this will continue to contribute to the brain drain that we are experiencing in Wales. It is their skills and experiences that will be utilised within the English economy rather than the Welsh economy, and members here may scoff at this. But if you are planning a family, when childcare offer you receive in England compared to Wales may well affect where you as a family decide to settle and call home. Thank you.